Hello, I'm Bonnie Soanes. Welcome to the Postgraduate Diploma in Entrepreneurship Information Session, The View from the Top. I'm talking to Jamie Urquhart, Venture Partner with Pond Venture Partners. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you.
The first question, you were at Acorn Computers, one of the first ventures in what has grown into a very large Cambridge tech cluster. What three key things did you learn from this experience of being in a startup?
The first memory I've got of Acorn was walking into the building, and it was just a buzz. It was an incredibly exciting, interesting place, and particularly more so because my previous job had been in R&D in a large British company. I guess the second thing is management by walking about. So Herman, one of the co-founders of Acorn, would routinely just come round late in the evening and ask you what you're doing.
Always be on the factory floor talking to people.
Well, absolutely. And the interesting is he'd take an interest and he'd remember. And I thought, that was a very strong memory in my mind. And I guess the last thing is cash flow. One of the struggles that Acorn had when it was going through its difficult times was to do with cash flow. And probably that's the biggest memory, is cash is so important in a business.
Now, you were then part of the founding team at Arm Holdings. What were the key elements that allowed the company to grow so successfully? People.
One of the main factors, I think, at Arm was people, and it was having a team of people committed to that future. I think the second thing was that we had a plan and a vision, and we had leadership associated with that plan. And so getting alignment of everybody behind a goal. Thirdly, customers. You've got to focus on your customers. It's very often that technology companies tend to get so in love with their technology that that's all they think about. But no, having customers that really drove what we did and why we did it was very important. And then leadership. So someone like Robin, who came in and was able to inspire and lead people, and he got me switching from being a dyed-in-the-wool engineer to running sales around the world. It's all of those factors, I think, that really made it what it is today.
What comes across is the sense of team in both those organizations, team skills. And as you said, you're a dyed-in-the-wool engineer.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I look for when I look at companies now. It's about how people interact together. And one of the factors behind teams is that when someone is having difficulty for whatever reason, there's someone else to come along and give them support and work with them, but also to drive each other to better things. So you're continually driving your company forward. You're never complacent. And so when you're working in a team, you need the team to really help drive you and make what you can the best of everything that you do.
And you're developing one another's skills as you go along.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Now, you have extensive experience as an angel investor and venture capitalist. What would you say investors are looking for in new startups and their founders? Are there any sort of magic bullets or ingredients?
I wish there were magic bullets, but for me, it's very much about people, and people with passion, and an ability to articulate why their idea is going to make sense. So that's one of the first things I look for. But the important point you made, I also look for the team. So can the team work? Can the team function together? Can they really drive that business forward? As a venture capitalist, then we are interested in particular sorts of businesses, and those are businesses with a large market potential. So having a large market is very important. It's not to say that you shouldn't start a company that's going into a niche market, but the VC business is about high growth potential as well. And so looking for those large markets. So I guess those three things are what I really want to see when I meet a team. But then you never make a decision in one go. You meet the team, you'll meet them again a bit later. What I also look for is a team that have taken what you've talked about the last time and built upon it. So that constant drive to really push things forward is absolutely vital. And some have it and some don't.
So I'm interested, it's not just about the technology, it's about this thing, the market, the numbers, who you can sell to.
It's much as I am a geek and I love
Yeah, I was
technology,
going to say that.
yes, it's not at all about the technology. It's very much about being able to solve a market problem, being able to build a business that can solve that market problem, and being able to do it profitably. That's not necessarily what is the absolute key goal behind a company, but those are absolutely important if you're going to make your business successful.
And I suppose that's what a business mentor does. It makes you focus on that market.
Absolutely, yes. Too often, technologists get hung up on the beauty of their ideas and not of actually the beauty of being able to go out there and successfully commercialize your product and make it available across the world. And that in itself has a buzz and a drive associated with it. But if you're going to do those things, you've got to then get out of your comfort zone, away from the technology. You've got to learn about what it means to do business. You've got to learn about the law. You've got to learn to read a balance sheet. You've got to learn to read people. And all of these things are motivational.
Okay, so were there times in your personal journey where you would have benefited from further skills and knowledge?
You never know enough. One of the things that we did at ARM was very much focus on encouraging people to learn and constantly learn. Now, in a startup, you have to learn on the job. You don't have time to be able to go off and spend a year doing an MBA. But one of the drives behind Acorn was getting people to come in, to work with us, to ensure that we never stop. Being innovative is about learning. Being innovative in technology, definitely about learning, but being innovative in business is also about learning. And if you're going to be innovative in a business, if you're going to be entrepreneurial, you've got to understand what the building blocks are and then how you exploit the differences, how you exploit the opportunities.
All right, so you've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs and startups. What skills do you think are relevant at different stages of their journeys? Enthusiasm, sincerity, team when you begin out, and a hard head once you're a few years into it?
Yes, that's a very big question, because the sorts of people you meet, very few of them have all of the skills necessary. So it's very dependent on the individuals and where they are at the time. But what I would say is when I look at some of the successful companies that I've seen and been associated with, initially you get someone who's passionate, who's hungry, who wants to succeed, and probably, although they might be technical, they have a better market understanding than you might realize. They understand what makes the market tick. Those are generally, although conventionally wouldn't be considered as CEOs, go on to make the best CEOs. And you have to grow with them, you have to help them, they have to understand the markets. More formally, you have to understand how to read a balance sheet. So there are various skills that you build on top of it, but fundamentally you've got to have tenacity, you've got to have the ability to really drive things forward, and you've got to be able to lead people. And those skills are important right at the start and carry on. They're just as important as the business grows. But then you have to transfer from necessarily doing it all yourself, how you delegate, how you get other people to do it, how you encourage others to do better than you've done yourself. And that in itself can be incredibly rewarding.
And sometimes it's about that sense of team, having two halves of an orange or an apple that come together. And I suppose that was what you can do as a business mentor in this kind of entrepreneurial environment in Cambridge, is bring people together.
Absolutely, and that's one of the great things. That's one of the great things about being here at the Judge, is I get to meet all sorts of people, all sorts of interesting ideas, and real drive and passion and real buzz. But someone once said that in some senses, business is a bit like playing rugby. You all run up and down the field together, but then it's about moving the ball between each of you and using the strengths of the individuals as the situation demands. And you're not always quite sure what the situation is going to be. So you've got to be flexible, you've got to be responsive, but you've got to have a good general sense of direction.
Well, Jamie, any snappy advice to our aspiring entrepreneurs? Something you could say in a very short sentence?
I think the key issue is it's about your passion, your ability to articulate, and your recognition of where you want to go and how you encourage others to go there with you on that journey.
And it is a journey.
Absolutely. It's a great journey. It's a hard journey sometimes, but it's a great journey.
Okay, thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
We have to leave it there. but hope you found this session useful. If you have any further questions, you can find out more via the website or get in touch with our programme team. Thanks for watching and goodbye.
Thank you.
Yeah.